Welcome to the Curly Hair Q&A show. I am your host, Ken Nickels, and I'm here with Melanie Nickels. She is the founder of the Raw Hair Organic Salon in beautiful Naples, Florida. It's one of the top curly hair salons in the country, and Melanie is one of the top curl and color experts anywhere in the world. She is also the founder of the Raw Curls brand of natural and organic curly hair products that can be found at rawhairorganics.com. And this is show number 160 if you're following along. I can't believe we're still a show, but we are. And we've got a big show for you guys tonight. I'm sure a lot of you are tuning in for that. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to be interesting. So tonight, just so you guys know, I'm sure there's a lot of new people. I'm going to tell you about where you can watch us and listen to us. We are a 2019 award-winning podcast, and you can find us like this episode tomorrow morning at the latest, but usually we have it done by maybe 10, 11 o'clock tonight. But you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Radio Public, Podcast Addict, and on SoundCloud, usually by 11 o'clock, however long it takes for us to download it and finish up the editing and whatever after the show is over. So keep that in mind. You can check us out anytime during the week. But we live stream this show every Monday night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time in a number of different places. And tonight we actually narrowed it down. And so we're only in a couple places live streaming tonight. And the reason is we didn't want any technical issues.
Oh, wow. Good idea. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Because I'm really soft.
You're really soft.
Mm-hmm. Should we turn it up?
No, because then I get the echo.
Oh,
I don't want the echo. So we're live streaming tonight in not as many places as we normally do, just because we didn't want any technical glitches, which we still have technical glitches.
Yeah.
We got this week, I'll tell you guys later, but we got this. We upgraded our system again.
We did?
Yes, this week. And there's a lot of things that are better. So we'll
Not the sound.
We'll figure it out. We're close.
Can everybody hear? Can everybody hear me though?
Yeah. Hey, Lionel, ask Helen. You know, does she check everything? Is she checking all the
Because I
platforms?
feel like I sound really soft.
You are really soft.
Yeah, she said everything sounds good.
She says everything sounds good. Good, wonderful.
But does that mean on their end or just on our end?
Well, she's on their end.
Okay.
That's why she always sits with her own computer.
Because when you
we might bring Helen in here
really
tonight, but
soft.
you're not going to see. Yeah, you're not going to see her tonight, but she might come in here to field some questions with us.
Okay.
So, but anyway, live streaming tonight on Facebook in the Curly Girls support group, the DevaCurl users support group, the Curly Hair Specialists professional group, and on YouTube on the Curly Hair Q&A show channel. That by far right there, the YouTube channel, by far your best user experience as far as video and sound. It's always the best, and it's because it's YouTube. You know, they're miles ahead of everybody else. We are also on Instagram every week at Raw Curls. Hey, Instagram.
Hey,
They're over there.
Insta.
Yeah, they always get to go live first, and then they disconnect usually later. Although tonight, you might have to go up there and reset the thing, because if we run long tonight, because they only get 60 minutes, you guys don't want to miss out, right? So we'll do that. We did that, I think, last week, and the week before, I did that. Usually I just let it die, and then they don't get to see the end. But I remember I got up there and I set it, reset it, and let them watch the rest. So I might do that. So
the beginning and the end are the best.
The beginning and the end are always the best. We had cake last week.
Yeah. Well, no, we didn't. We had donuts.
Donuts. Yeah. I shouldn't have said that, because our guest is probably listening thinking, oh, they had donuts last week. Anyway, so that's it. So Melanie, got a fun fact for us? Tell us what's going on, or give us an update.
Yes, I have a couple fun facts. So I finally found a new employee for the salon, for the front desk, which is awesome.
Hooray.
Welcome, Jessica. We're super excited. She's actually one of my clients that is volunteering to help out, and she's excited to get back to work because she's been busy raising her kids for several years. And so we did some training today, and I think she's going to be great. She's going to be an awesome fit, and we're excited to have her working with us. Also, I I told these two that I was going to talk about them on Saturday because, people are always asking, I know I see online, is it worth paying the money? Is it worth the drive to go and get a curly cut? And I had two new clients. The mom called for the daughter, a 7-year-old child that needed a curly cut. And she was having some problems with her scalp. That was a big concern for her. And then she said, she needed a curly haircut. And the mom wanted one too at the same time, but we couldn't, Julie doesn't work that late. Actually, she was off on Saturday. So, but I said, you know what? I'll just stay because that's how I am. I'm already working. And of course, I have no other life. So I'll just stay and do both of your haircuts. And I had no idea. They actually came all the way from Houston to Orlando to go to Disney for vacation, and then drove 3.5 hours to the salon to get their hair done. I was like, oh my gosh, you drove all the way over here just to get your hair done. And they were so grateful. The whole, her sister and I think niece and dog came.
And
We had a whole audience, but we hung out all night because it was a long appointment. The 7-year-old was like the cutest girl, and she was so well behaved.
Do we have any pictures?
I do on my cell phone, but I didn't send
okay.
any to Lionel or Helen.
Next week
I
we'll
could do that while you're talking. I could do that. We can show later. But anyway, yeah, so they drove all the way there. We stayed all night, several hours because by the time I do both of their haircuts and whatnot, it was quite late. We finished at 9:30 on Saturday night. And then they were driving back to Orlando and, going to Disney with their family and stuff the whole rest of the week. So, and she was this mother must have hugged me 20 times,
How did they find you in the first place?
She found me on YouTube, actually. Oh. Yes. She was searching and saw us doing videos on YouTube, and she is part of the group. And so, actually, she just asked to join the group because she wasn't accepted yet. But anyway, so she was more than happy, again, to pay. They were so happy for her daughter and for herself. It was so exciting. And then, wow, they drove all that back and forth in one day. So it was really awesome.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
And like I say, she couldn't stop hugging me and thanking me. So it was, and that's what I love. That's what makes a lot of this, worthwhile, is to help people and, have a positive effect on them and their hair. This little girl was suffering. She has so much hair. I thought when I, booked it and I said I would stay to do the mother, I'm like, it shouldn't take me too long to do a 7-year-old's hair. Wait till you do see the pictures.
Wait till you see the pictures.
I was like, oh my gosh. She has more hair than most adults, and it was tangly. Of course, they weren't using great products. We talked about all that. And, I did a lot of instructing and educating on how to properly care for her hair using the right products and the right techniques so she's not pulling the hair. And so it was pretty awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. Well, should we get started?
Yes.
Okay, let's get started. So we have a special guest tonight, and to the best of my knowledge, this is an exclusive interview. So this will be the first. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. I've got lots of listener and viewer questions, and I've got my own stuff, and we'll get started. I'll introduce our guest, and then we'll go from there. This guest tonight is a personal friend of Melanie and I's, and we actually have some special announcements for those of you who haven't heard. We'll talk about it at the end, but this friendship that we have is growing into some really, really cool things for the curl industry, and I know you guys are really going to like them as they put together. We've had lots and lots and lots and lots of conversations about it and how we're going to do these things. So let's get into it. So tonight I have as our special guest the DevaCurl Salon founding member and DevaCurl Academy co-founder Shari Harbinger. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Shari.
Hey, Shari.
Hi, everybody.
Hi. Hey,
She's super soft.
She is. She's super soft. Can we get her any louder in our headsets, or do I have to do it on my end, Lionel? Is that better? Shari, you there? Okay.
I'm here.
She's quiet. That's there. Ask Helen how she sounds on the live stream, just so we know. See what she says. I don't know why I asked Lionel to ask her, because she can just hear me through that.
Yeah. Exactly.
We're just gonna be sure we got everything covered.
She said she sounds good.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Wonderful. So welcome to the show, and thank you very much
Yes.
for coming on, because we got lots of stuff to talk about, and we're gonna try to get into it as quickly as we can, so we've got a lot and we can get through everything. But Shari, so let's start this way. Can you, for those of you who don't know who you are, can you give us your background of who you are and kind of the history of Shari Harbinger and DevaCurl in general? Let's start that way, and then we'll move into everything else. So give us kind of the background and kind of the story, so we all know.
Awesome. Before I do that, I just want to say happy belated birthday.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
glad I
I'm
wasn't
celebrating
there.
all year.
That's the way to do it.
That's right.
I'm Shari Harbinger. I began my career at the age of 23.
Wow.
Just a year ago.
Yeah, right? Yeah, there you go. And I started as a salesperson. I was a sales consultant for a manufacturer that many of you heard of called Clairol.
I've heard of them, yeah.
You heard of them?
Who's that?
And long story short, I guess through my travels, my history growing up, starting out with a passion for fashion and hair and music, somehow made my way to the university and studied music, all the while loving hair and becoming the premier dorm stylist to my friends at college. So I've always had a love of hair. Fast forward years later with this job at Clairol, which then morphed into working in various salons, which then led me to a distributorship out on Long Island way out on Long Island, in Comac, called Paramount. I began
Paramount Beauty,
realize
was that it?
the Paramount companies, yeah. It became clear to me that teaching and selling products through education was really important. So education resonated for me. And you know how one thing leads to the next. I was representing a lot of brands for the company at the time. Schwarzkopf being one of them. I had elevated out of the Clairol world into the Schwarzkopf world. And I was actually teaching a class in a salon where I met who would become one of the founders of DevaCurl. His name is Dennis De Silva. And we formed a friendship, and I knew there was something really special about him. And fast forward a few months after that, I knew someone who actually knew the other founder of, would-be founder of DevaCurl Salon. And he ended up going there to work. And shortly thereafter, I followed. And that's really how I landed at DevaCurl, through meeting him ending up at DevaCurl, and pretty much inviting me to come along. So that's a very, very
they
quick
don't hear her
version.
at all. I'm sorry, Shari. I'm
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt, but hold on, because they're saying they don't hear her, and I don't hear her either, hardly.
Yeah, she's really quiet. Hey,
Yeah.
Lionel, she's really quiet in our headset. Can always tell Instagram to go to YouTube.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not having a problem too.
Yeah, I mean, it's really quiet on my end,
Yeah.
but at least I can hear her.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not hearing her. Yeah, you guys on Instagram, you can always go to YouTube channel. Like I said, it's the best. It's the best way to watch it. Lionel, can you get her any louder in our ears?
Not without echoing.
Oh, not without. Okay.
That's okay. I'd
Okay.
rather deal with the echo. Ken, you're just going to have to deal with the echo. That's
Okay.
fine.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry, Shari. Okay, go on.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Oh,
Yep,
that's
we're good.
so much
Yep.
better. Yes.
Yep.
All right. It's echoing to me too, so it'll be a little difficult, but we'll work through it.
Okay, good.
So being that no one heard a thing that I said,
No, we did. No, we did. It's see, on the broadcast end, other than Instagram, it's fine. On our end, it's quiet.
Okay.
Okay, gotcha.
But we can hear you. I heard every word you said.
Yes, I did hear you were talking about Dennis and then the other founder.
Yeah, so here we're Lorraine Masters, who had the DevaCurl salon, and Dennis went to work there, and a few months later invited me down to be part of it. And so it was a big decision, making the decision to leave Paramount, leaving my isolated little second bedroom in my apartment, doing hair after work, and joining a community of wonderful people, and being part of the salon.
So what was the conversation? I mean, how did they come to you? Did they? I mean, tell us more about that. I mean, you just said, well, they asked me, and the next thing you know, it's a purpose. You know what? There had to be some kind of carrot. What was it? What did you all see in the three of you? You know what I mean?
Well, I was getting my hair cut by Dennis.
Oh, okay.
And every time I went to get my hair cut, with his Brazilian accent that I could barely understand, but I managed, he kept saying, well, when are you going to come work here? So third haircut in, and I had met Lorraine because I went to the salon. And Dennis, was talking with her obviously about my background in education and my specialty as a colorist. This could be a really cool triad of expertise. Now, keep in mind at the time, the whole curling thing was really marinating. It was Lorraine, I guess at that time, trying to work through her own situation with her curls. And in doing so, talking to clients. So we were listening in, we were watching what was happening and what was trying to be cultivated. And Dennis, of course, with this curling knowledge of what Lorraine was doing, was also trying to figure out how can we also address this curly client with color. And years later, of course, that would become the patented tool and technique called Pintura. Yeah. So I didn't know what I was walking into. I don't think any of us really did. It was really like a think tank that was happening as we were working and evolving. And because I had the background in education, my role, other than being a colorist, was to figure out how we can create digestible, scalable curriculum to teach our staff, and ultimately, years later, share it with the rest of the curl community. So an academy wasn't even on our brain. We were a hair salon trying to change lives through an understanding of curly hair. And that evolved into the realization that there wasn't really a product to support this aha moment that we're all having around these curly clients. And the big question was, with every one of them, if we could show you a way to wear your hair curly, and you would actually love it and like the way it felt, would you wear your hair curly? And 95% of these clients said yes. But every time I've tried, my hair would be frizzy. I don't know how to work with it. And I want to pause on that for a second, because Melanie, you said something very interesting at the start of the show about this little girl who came to your salon. And the thing that you had said that I also think is a good segue into the rest of tonight is that at any age, when someone's embracing their natural texture and having a new relationship with their hair and themselves, it requires coaching, it requires instructing, it requires patience. And all of these things are, as many curl stylists who are listening tonight, and many consumers who are listening, we all now know what we really were learning 20 years ago, which is that a really good product, a beautiful shape, and the proper coaching and explanation could really set someone up for what I call at-home success.
Exactly. I just actually put together a card at the suggestion of one of my clients, because When we have new curly clients come in, we do a lot of education and coaching and teaching them how to work with their style and what products to use and styling techniques and tips. And then it's kind of overwhelming. They go home and, you know, they kind of forget. They're like, now, what should I do when and what number goes first? And so I did put together a postcard that they'll be able to take home with them, and we're putting together like curl packages, and I called it Curl Success. So it's like, you know, yeah. So I thought that was going to be pretty cool, and they're excited about it too. In fact, I didn't even have it done yet. It's at the printer, but one of my clients was like, "Can you text me that?" So I texted her the proof,
Right.
Because she was just forgetting what order to use what products, and she just wanted to have that reminder and that information of, you know, how to have the most successful curls.
Yeah.
I don't want to
cool.
jump ahead, but I will say, you know, will come up down the line is that this is something Ken and I were talking about as we will undoubtedly segue into the DevaCurl thing, because I know that that's something people want to have some answers to or hear some perspective on.
Yeah.
But this coaching and explanation as professionals in this community was such a nugget. It was such an important part of our success. And I know now today, most curl salon success is that a professional is guiding and coaching. In your case, you know, they're looking to you to tell them what should I do.
Every day. Every day.
Every day.
Yeah.
And that's really the foundation that, first of all, the pro community is built on, not even curly, just the pro community in general. This is what the consumer wants, is guidance and direction from a professional.
Right.
And so, you know, that's also that's part of why we're all in this industry. I was especially excited when I saw that a lot of our techniques and the success we were having with our clients was gaining momentum.
Yeah.
That was the moment where very organically we realized that we wanted to share it with other people.
Well, let me stop you there, because I want to ask a question that will lead into all this. So when you created the Diva line, when you realized that you were just taking other products and kind of cookie cutter fitting them into what you guys were doing and realized, hey, this isn't really the best, and you decided to create a line that you believe that was the best, when did you decide that a traditional shampoo and conditioner was not the right route to go? When did you guys determine that, or who decided that? Who decided that traditional shampooing and conditioner was not the way to go?
Lorraine brought the concept to us.
Yeah.
She had been working with finding alternatives to traditional shampoo, which we now know is the sodium, lauryl sulfate, anything sulfate derived, was dehydrating the hair.
Yeah.
The hair that really requires that extra moisture.
Yeah.
So this was the aha moment that was happening there.
Did all you guys have that same aha moment when she came up with that idea? Were all you guys on board and said, "Yep, that's the way"?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And that's when we started researching more about sulfates. That's when we aligned with a chemist. We really wanted to understand this surfactant, this cleansing agent. Yes, it's cleaning the scalp, but what's it also doing? And is there another way that we can do it without leaving the hair feeling like cardboard? So that was really the start of it. And at that moment, Dennis and Lorraine were partners. And I would say shortly after that, they invited me into the partnership. And that was this whole discovery was between 1996 and 2000.
Now, I have a question. This is kind of, it's related. So at that time, were you guys aware of, and did you know Weedad and her, because she had a curly cutting system in existence, I believe.
In your same city, yeah.
Yeah, we started to hear about her. I wouldn't say in the 1996-7 timeframe, but closer as we started making noise just by virtue of our exploration.
And there was no internet, pre-internet. Yeah.
Exactly. She was there, and she had her perspective on it. Absolutely.
Right. Yeah. Because I mean, your guys' idea and techniques are totally different, but I was just curious if you were already familiar with her and her techniques and products.
Yeah. So
Not in the beginning.
not in the beginning.
Wow. Cool.
Okay. So you all three of you agreed that the traditional shampoo and conditioner was not the route to go, and you came from a background, so you know products. You came from that background, and then you said you went to the chemists and formulators with this idea. How was it received, and how long did it take?
Well, I'm learning a lot about chemists.
Yeah, no kidding, eh?
The emotion and the understanding of usage that we all know. A chemist, I don't want to say they're not interested in, but they're really delivering to us what we're asking for that meets regulatory standards, that is going to do the job and perform the way that we hope it would. And so it's so interesting that I learned that they can really cut themselves off from the emotional part of it and just make the product according to the things that you say you want.
Because that's the side of the brain they use. I deal with these guys every day, and I deal with these guys every day, so I get the combination. So that's my question is, how in the heck, I mean, I know what it's like working with these guys. How in the heck did you get these guys to say, yeah, no, we don't want we don't want sulfates, and we don't want I mean, I could just imagine the meeting of them staring at you with this blank stare of, right.
Yeah, because even all these years later that we started our product line in what, 2007, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we'd get those blank stares all the time.
Yeah, it was still a challenge even at that point in time.
Yeah, and that was 5-6 years after you guys.
But when they came back from the meeting, they said that you basically thought we were crazy, but you'll do it.
Right.
And we got the product. We had a few different versions.
How many? How long did that take?
Listen here, Ken, you and I are the same age now.
Yes, I just want to know, because I know how long it took us. I want to know, because everybody thinks, I know the majority of people think they're like,
that's the answer.
And in 30 days you had it.
No. I can speak for on our end. Every formulator, which I was just telling the story about how the process works, because like you said, everyone thinks it's so simple.
Right.
I mean, you have to do networking and research, and you find someone that tells you and promises, yes, they can make what you want. You pay them thousands of dollars, and you waste 6 months to a year, and they don't. And then you move on to the next one, and you go through the same process. Yeah, until you find the right one. So it's really time consuming and super expensive.
Yeah. So how long did it take you guys? Did it take more than a year?
It took about a year.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
And we got lucky with the first chemist that we aligned with. And with a few tweaks, knowing what we were trying to create, which was something that was cleansing, that had some sort of antiseptic quality to it, as well as an anesthetic soothing quality to it, because we want to clean and we want to soothe curly hair and scalp.
So how did you do that, given that shampoos and conditioners have such completely different pH levels and different? So how did you achieve that? How'd you do it?
Well, you'd have to ask the chemist that.
Okay.
But we're bringing up a good point, because the pH would have to be higher than the pH of a conditioner. And so a lot of it was experimental, trial and error. And then, the other component to this, aside from ingredients, which I know is all over the internet now, and it's a big thing with products, not only with DevaCurl, but with so many companies, is what we had to really ask ourselves is, what are we trying to do here? We know that curly girls and guys experience dehydrated hair. So we have to discern between what does the scalp need and what does the hair need. And even though they're living in the same environment, the needs are very different. We want to cleanse the scalp in a certain way. In some cases, we want to also moisturize the scalp. And in most cases, we want to condition and moisturize the hair.
Okay.
And so how it all came about was, how could we address the scalp, create a cleansing environment, and shift the fabric of the hair to something that the client never experienced before, such that that client that we asked the question to, if you could wear your hair and love it and it would feel good, which,
Right.
so it really all started with getting the fabric, quality of the hair, to feel like something made from the felt. And we were successful doing it.
Yeah. Were you and Dennis the guinea pigs? Basically, were you the guinea pigs of the, or did you take it right to your clients once you got the formulations done?
Yeah,
Went right
our
to them.
clients,
Yep.
our clients. And
So-
ourselves, it wasn't just the three of us. There were about six of us in the beginning.
Yeah.
Then that evolved into 8, 10
Yeah.
to 12, at which time that specific salon and that building was being sold. And so they actually offered to buy all of us out to leave the building. And we were like, well, then what? Here we are in the middle of New York City.
Right.
And we thrive in business. We're not going to walk away from something that we know there's so much value to.
Right.
And so we basically said to them, we're not just walking away, but if you can find us another space twice the size, we'll move. And they found us a salon next door.
Nice.
Oh, I thought they were going to say, we've got a place for you in the Bronx.
So that was 2001.
Ah.
And that was 2001.
And we had 1 month to vacate.
Is that the one in
We got our-
Soho?
That was the one down the stairs in Soho.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We had 1 month to construct that and get out of the salon we were in.
1 month.
And for the clients that were our clients at the time, they were walking into a construction zone.
Couldn't imagine.
And they
Wow.
didn't care. They didn't care. They came.
Ugh.
We lost
Yeah.
very few clients.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
They're dedicated to, it's such a specialty. Like I said, people will drive, they'll fly, they'll come from all over because if you help them with the problem they're having, they appreciate that and they're going to be faithful.
And so now what you said again there, thank you, Melanie, for all these segues. That's where we have the aha moment around the academy. Why are people flying from California, from now across the world, to have their hair handled by a professional? We've got to get this word out. We have to help other stylists be successful or as successful as we were at our salon. And so that was the kind of the light bulb that went off in my mind. How do we share it out?
Yeah.
So with my background, even though my background is actually music and management, I still had a lot of training in writing and just a natural intuitive ability to see concepts and principles and formulate them into what we're calling curriculums. And it was very, Melanie, you were at one of the first classes.
I was.
Yep.
If you could call it a curriculum, okay.
Right.
Now
Those were the good old days.
Yeah,
But then that comes evolution, and look where it is now.
exactly.
Yeah. We talk about that all the time when people say, Melanie, you're not certified. And we laugh all the time. We're like, certified came like 10 years later.
Yeah.
It wasn't even a thing,
It wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was just talking about that with somebody because they said, when the first class I went to, there wasn't really a system. It was just kind of, more eyeballing, more creative cutting, you pick up the curl. That was more the curl by curl, and it was just very, freehand rather than a system. And, after I learned that, I kind of went back and started creating my own system because I'm a little more technical, so I like to follow, certain things, but incorporating what I had learned, and that's where it kind of evolved for me. And then you guys had done the same thing, so it was like, oh, this is cool, and now and then you even evolved from there into, different ways to have different levels of teaching people.
Yeah.
I saw one of the questions on Facebook that actually asked that question about curl by curl.
Yeah.
And I resisted the temptation to answer it right then and there. I was,
Yeah.
waiting for the show. But, curl by curl, it's pushing us to really tap into our intuitive, to trust our eye as an artist or a painter would, or a sculptor, someone doing pottery who's feeling their way and it's visual. But to your point, Melanie, and for me also, I also need some kind of a technical foundational starting point. And that was the moment where we realized we need a roadmap here. We didn't want to do away with curl by curl, but we wanted to take curl by curl more as the accoutrement to the technical foundation that we were now realizing needed to be shared out.
Which is what you do,
And that
right?
really was.
Yeah.
That was the foundation of the current curriculum.
Right,
Yep.
because I think it's easier to teach. There's a colorist that I would think you would know, Dennis would know, because he's very well known. His name is Mazel Aponte, and he is amazing.
He's a great guy.
Oh my God! But
I made him cry.
Yeah,
I made him cry.
I love Mazel. He's awesome.
But I love him. He loves
try
us.
to learn, what he does. He's just special. That's hard to teach other people because he has a special eye. He has a special technique. I mean, he has a way of trying to teach it, but it's a technique, and his curtain shades and veils or whatever. But
Curtain drapes and shades.
Yes. The first time I took his class, I was like, what in the world, and I left with a headache. And I'm a board certified master colorist, but then, and I was kind of like irritated, but then, I worked through it and it all clicked. And I went up to him later and I said that, was amazing, you're amazing, but it's just something hard to teach, because he's so special and talented. So, it's easier when you have a system that people can follow.
The same kind of thing here. Yeah.
Well, that was the moment that we realized that this is where Dennis and I actually collaborated and said, okay, we've got to come up with something that provides a technical foundation, but yet we still honor the curl by curl, which is where it all began here at the salon. How can we create something that gives people a roadmap, and in my opinion, a beautiful balanced haircut, and then apply our intuitive, the fine-tuning and the detailing that we trust our eye and our feeling as artists. And together, and this became part of the curriculum, which is the technical and the intuitive, becoming part of what a DevaCurl came to be. And, I've been a voyeur of a lot of what I'm watching online, and people are questioning or making statements. And just the fact that I was just able to say that on this show, I think is very important. Because I'm not sure that people today fully understand that the DevaCurl to date is still a combination of the curl by curl, which is how it began, built on a foundation that has a technical roadmap now in place.
That's true.
Sure.
That's an excellent point, and that is correct.
Yeah. I want to kind of move this forward. I've got some questions that I think will help people who also have questions about the current situation. When you launched the DevaCurl products, how long after that did you guys realize that? Did you realize that you could start selling those products first, or did you realize we got to start training stylists, and who in the organization here is going to do this? I mean, I can't. You guys grew so quick in like a 3 or 4 year period, and I know because we're in that business that 3 or 4 year period sounds like a lot, but it's so little for how quick you guys boomed. How did you make that decision of? I'm assuming that you decided we got to start training up stylists. How are we going to do this? Who on our team is going to be in charge of it? And how are we going to get product into their hands? How did that all come about?
Well, it was clear that I was the person to lead the education initiative. It's my passion. It's what I wanted to do. So that was the easy part. I would say that the training and getting the product to be sold outside of just our salon happened simultaneously. And I'll share the quick story because I know there's a lot more that we want to talk about.
Yeah.
We were selling it simply out of our salon. We kept noticing what the clients were asking for and what the hair needed. And that's truly how we built the brand, based on what we saw was needed. Not just, hey, like most manufacturers, let's put a gel out, let's put something else out. Who knew back then? So it's like, what could we make that will be the solution for this need of this client, whether it's dehydration, whether it's defining the curl, whether it's styling control. And so it was a very limited product line at the time. And we were actually aligned with Paramount Distributors, who was the distributorship I worked for, and how I met Dennis, that would come and fill us the Schwarzkopf and notice how much of our own product we were selling. And they actually said to us, "You're selling all of this DevaCurl that out of your own salon and only your salon?" Like, yeah. And that was the moment that they became our distributor, our first ever distributor. They said to us, "Could you present this to our sales team? Could we see if maybe they could take it to salons in the New York metropolitan area? And maybe we do some look and learns and you present to our sales team and talk to them about the usage of the product and how it's so different and the game changer for curly hair." So that's how it started.
Wow,
and
cool.
while that was happening, we were expanding the line based on conversations with our clients all day, every day.
Oh, okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Were you so at that point when you made the deal with Paramount, did they start selling to salons, other salons, even if those salons didn't have DevaCurl Academy trained stylists?
No, that was
part of the deal?
Where we had control back in the day.
Oh, okay.
We would come in and we would do presentations. Not quite the trainings that exist today,
Right.
but we did the best we could to make sure that these stylists who were taking on this product understood how to use it and how to coach their clients with it. Because
Okay.
no one ever had a product that had this kind of viscosity without a lather. And to be honest, a lot of people sent it back in the beginning because they didn't understand it.
Because they didn't understand. Yep.
They actually thought we sold them the wrong product by accident.
Right. They probably thought they got a conditioner or
Right.
two
And
conditioners.
what was really interesting about that is that was the impetus for us to create Lopu.
Oh, right. Because here you at least get some here to make people feel
This is
better.
the familiar sudsing effect that
Yeah.
people are using.
I remember hearing that.
Yeah, except it's not a sodium lauryl sulfate, it's a different type of surfactant.
Right.
So still have the hair feeling great, slightly
Yep.
higher pH.
Right.
And still to date, I mean, I'm a Lopu user. I have a lot of clients that would alternate between Lopu and Nopu,
Yes.
and some who were dedicated to Nopu. But again, it's important to remember that we have to address the scalp very differently. And what are the needs of the scalp versus what's happening on the ends of the hair. And I know that I'm giving you that statement because I know that this is part of what has been lost. It's almost like the telephone game where you pass information down the
Right.
line and you get to the person and you ask them to repeat the sentence and it's completely different.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was going with my next questions too. So when did that all change? Did that all change when you grew and started a partnership to grow the company? Was that which would have been what, 2000 9, 10, 11, something like that, or later?
Partnership in 2012.
Okay, so is that when that changed? When you didn't have the control anymore to run stylists, professional licensed stylists, through your programs, to where all of a sudden the products weren't being sold by those people who were educated and were being sold to consumers more or less direct, retail direct?
I don't know how that happened. We were always dedicated to bringing stylists into the academy. Sales teams within our own company and sales teams that worked with other distributorships knew that it would be so much more beneficial if they sold our line into a salon to have those stylists come to the academy or have field training where the academy kind of came to them. So I'll tell you, I can only speak to what I think happened. And this is what I know to be true about stylists, myself being a stylist. What I've noticed, and we talked about this in the last show, is that when we learn something, it's very hard for us not to put our own personal stamp on it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, we have, really worked through a tried and true technique, a roadmap that includes technical intuitive know-how. We take people through the academy and train them. And what we discover down the line, and this is what's hard to control because they are their own independent salon, is that many of them, if they don't practice the discipline, if they don't take the techniques that they learned at the academy and practice ongoingly, what happens is their own familiar, comfortable techniques or ways come back into play. Because to be uncomfortable with a technique with a client leaves the stylist in a very precarious position, which is, will I get this haircut, or is it not going to come out the way I want? Because perhaps I forgot some of what I lost at the training because I wasn't practicing. So it starts to become this hybrid, combo, I call it going rogue eventually.
True.
Even though they went to the academy, a client will show up at that salon that went through the academy, that had the experience, but is then reporting that they didn't really get the diva cut as they knew it should be.
Right.
That happens so much.
It happens all the time.
Yeah, I hear that a lot, and people ask me because they're like, they end up at my salon, they say they went to a diva certified, well, maybe not certified, a diva
salon,
trained stylist, we'll call it, and they got a bad haircut, and they didn't do this or they did that, and I'm like, ooh, and I'm going, that's not even the diva system, so it's exactly what you're saying. And the other thing is that I always tell people, and we've talked about on this show, is just because a stylist goes through training for one day or one weekend, doesn't mean that they get it, like you're saying. They might still suck. They could have been doing hair for 20 years. I don't care what it is. Everyone has different talent levels, and some just get it and some don't.
Sherry said this exact same thing to me on the phone the other day when we were talking. She's like, just because you're rolled out of our 3 trainings doesn't mean you're ready.
Yeah, and I know for myself, I can speak, I can admit there's so many, I go to so many classes over the 23 years that I've been doing hair. It's just like what you're saying, because some stretch you way out of your comfort zone, and you go back and you just end up doing things like the old techniques that are sure and tried and true and you're comfortable with. Sometimes you transition and you use the new ones, but for me, I make sure that if it's something really important that I learned, I practice it over and over and over until it becomes something that I don't have to think about. But it is so true that so many people learn new things and then they don't apply them at all, or they don't apply them properly.
I found a statistic somewhere. I couldn't find the source, but it states that it takes 10,000 hours of training to consider yourself in mastery of a technique.
Absolutely.
10,000. So now when students go through any academy, not just ours, any academy, let's say ours, 7 days, all the way to certification, figure it's an 8-hour day. We're talking 56 to 60 hours of training versus 10,000 hours of continuous discipline. I always think of a tennis player for some reason. Like, how many hours of hitting that ball and working on concepts to get to where they're at? It's not 56 hours.
I think of basketball players. I think about Michael Jordan used to talk about that. There'd be 3 hours after everybody left, and he's shooting one shot over and over while one guy catches the ball and throws it back.
You're right, and it's Sherry's exactly right. It takes a discipline, and a lot of people don't have that discipline.
Nope.
They just go back to their old ways or just forget it and don't do it right, or it takes a lot of practice and discipline.
There is a group of stylists who are exceptional pro stylists who've gone through the training, took it home, practiced, are doing beautiful work, and they're at a moment in their career where they're saying, what's next? And like you're going to different offerings now. There's different programs out there that there weren't, quite a few years ago.
Not even a few years ago.
Right. Which is also, because I know one of the questions that came up somewhere, and so I should just answer here, is I leave DevaCurl because of what's happening with this current DevaCurl lawsuit. And I actually, for those people that don't know, the company was sold almost 2 years ago. We were all bought out 2 years ago. I was kept on as a consultant. And so typically, I've been out of the executive leadership group for quite a few years now.
So you said 2 years ago you were bought out of
Aries. Aries bought us, and then Henkel, as you know, came in. So I've been in a consulting status up until my decision to leave, which was December. And the reason, there's many reasons I left, but the main one was really what we're talking about when it comes to education. I believe that there are a lot of stylists who would attend more training, who would apply the discipline if they were empowered and motivated to do so. And if there, for many, were next level opportunities where they felt that they could build on an existing foundation. And I felt there that I couldn't do that anymore. That just wasn't the right scenario for me to implement next level curriculum. And it's just the company's choice and their trajectory of where they're headed. But it was a moment for me where I said, there's something different that I want to do in the curl community. And it's not just next level technical education. You know, what I also find that, and you may also see, is elevating the salon culture. I've been to so many salons, and I'm seeing a theme about a breakdown in team collaboration and getting clear on a company's mission, whether it be a chain salon or a small, one brick and mortar salon, that the salon owners often mired in the daily stuff and just can't wrap their head around the other very important elements that make a salon successful, because this goes way beyond technical training. Mm-hmm. And that's something that you all learned, and you know, Melanie and Ken, because you're salon owners, that you can be so technically strong if you're missing that element of presence and team culture, and all of them being in alignment on what does the stylist-client relationship have to look like in your house. Mm-hmm. And if everyone bought into this, because if you don't have that, you could even deliver beautiful haircuts. But it's got to be the combination of all of the above. And so that was also one of the deciding factors for me to move on. I didn't see the company at this moment in time welcoming that part, the pro skill development, the leadership, the strategy that many salon owners have wanted. Mm-hmm. And we're hoping that DevaCurl would have provided.
Mm-hmm. That's true. That's so interesting, because somebody I was just talking to, I think it was a client, we were talking about classes and training and the success of salons, and they asked if we get any business training, and I said no. And that's why most salons fail. I feel, I'm a little bit different because I have a business background. But many stylists decide they're good hairstylists and they want to open a salon, and they struggle or fail. It's tough because we don't anywhere along the way get business training in beauty school or in most classes you take. It would have to be something that you choose to do on your own.
But that's going to change.
Yes.
That's going to change.
Yeah.
You guys are going to find out in a minute. And,
Ooh, super exciting.
Yeah. Helen, hold on just a second. Helen, when that thing goes, go and reset it, please. Start it back up. Okay, good. Instagram, don't worry. Okay, go get it. Helen's going to run in front of the screen so she can do this. So.
Go, Helen.
Anyway,
you won't see her. She's so
go, Helen. She's
skinny
so
and little.
See, told you. You won't even
She's
see
like
her.
a little ghost.
Anyway, so I just have a couple more questions on this, and I want to go on some other things
Yes.
that I know people want to know.
Yes.
So
Let's
if
get
I
into the juicy stuff.
Yeah, if I ask you anything that you don't want to answer, or don't feel you can, just feel free, because everybody understands your position. That now that you're gone and whatever. Okay. So all that being said, with the two, thank you very much, Helen. With the two buyouts, obviously, the companies that have now taken control of it are pushing more of a retail type sales environment throughout the world. Everybody can see it. I'm trying to tiptoe around how I'm going to answer, or how I'm going to ask this.
Don't tiptoe, just
Well, it's
ask.
because I don't want to back her into a corner that sounds like I'm trying to back her into a corner, and I'm not. So do you believe, as I believe, I'll put it that way, as I believe, that the lack of professional training on how to properly use the products, which is the way you grew the company to begin with, and now the push toward a more retail consumer-based, let's even throw the influencer word in there, do you believe that is not giving the end consumer the proper skills and knowledge to be able to use the DevaCurl products properly?
Okay. I'm probably going to answer it with making my own statement, which is an interpretation of what you just said, to answer it. And I am going to make the statement as Shari Harbinger, who is removed from the company now, and looking from the outside in at what I'm observing or has been happening. I've always believed in the professional. I am noticing, like you, it can't be avoided, that there are many influencers out there who are influencing consumers. That's not to say that professionals aren't influencing consumers. However, if an influencer is not properly vetted and doesn't understand the explanation that comes with product usage for any company, I always say there's room for what I call user error. An influencer might have success with the way they're using a product, but misuse of a product, even if you're getting short-term beautiful results, if you're misusing any product, there's going to be a long-term effect of that. We were talking about this the other day about skincare. If someone uses lip mint and they have irritation, but they heard great things about lip mint, and they keep using it, even though they have irritation, or they misused it. Is it the product, or is it the user? So, could it be the product? I don't think so. I believe it's misuse. I believe the explanation got lost in this telephone line of how to use. Someone asked me a question on Facebook about co-washing. I have challenges with co-washing because of what I know about certain conditioning products that have been chemically engineered to have leave-behind ingredients, some of which are silicones, pearlizing agents, thickening agents. And so explanation-wise is to scrub the scalp and scrub it off. When you co-wash and you layer a product that has this residue and you're not properly rinsing, you're using other products on top of it, like products that are silicone-derived, oils. Of course you're going to have buildup. And when you suffocate that follicle, you could be one such person that has a propensity for thinning hair or hair loss. That's not rocket science. It's not new news.
Yeah. Okay, so that being said, so in the time that recently that you've left, so you didn't see any drastic changes in products or ingredients with the DevaCurl products, and you use them every day yourself still to this day, right? And you've never had an issue, correct? Never had a hair loss issue ever?
I never had an issue. But I'm a professional. I had to use the
Because you're a
product.
professional and you know how to use the product. That's interesting, and has not seen any major ingredient changes during your time there.
When I was there, we're coaching. We spend the time, like Melanie spent the time with that little girl. So every client is coached to usage. And when they come back, if we see that, they were being a bad student, we would see build up and we would know they're not properly cleansing the scalp. And you would be surprised how many people don't actually know how to wash their hair.
Right.
We used to make them put their hands in the sink and show us. Show me how you scrub. Show me how you rinse. It was such an eye-opener for us. These people don't know how to wash their hair.
Yeah, Julie and I were just talking about that.
That's my personal theory around what's been happening.
Okay.
People are layering, not properly rinsing, and they're getting built up.
Okay. Do you have anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, well, in my stylist, Julie and I were just talking about that, how kind of shocking it is to us, I guess because it's second nature, that people don't know how to wash their hair and scrub. They, especially young people, and who's teaching them? Maybe somebody else, their parent, who doesn't do it properly.
Right. Somebody who doesn't already.
I think there's this thing that it's cool to, like, if you could get 3 days out of your hair, or 5 days, like, it's the coolest thing now, because you can go that long. But if you keep adding product on the days that you're not washing, on top of the fact that you've not washed, you're adding insult to injury. No matter whose product, you take any product. Now, in this case, it happened to have been my beloved DevaCurl that I helped first, Brandon Lee there too.
Right.
And so that's what it's very sad for me to watch this happen.
For sure.
And this is to another company, actually.
Yes, for sure. Absolutely.
You've got so many people have clients that have been for 10 to 15 years. If I was still behind the chair, my 30-year-old client would now be 45. And guess what? There's other factors in play.
Exactly. I talk about that a lot. And, I've said that all along. It's...
What medication are they on? It's amazing to me that what I've been watching as it's happening, that people are starting to wake up now, and I see a lot of people rallying for it again. But this has been going on now. People have been playing for about a month and a half.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my goodness, look at all these other variables that are there. So this can happen to any country.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah, and that's why I say it's really going to be really hard to prove, because there are always so many factors in hair loss, like you're saying, hormonal. And we had Deshawn Bullard on here, and she's a hair loss expert. So, there's a list of at least 10 things that are common factors that affect hair loss. So to say it's just from a product, and some people even claim, one-time use, their hair is falling out, it's going to be a little difficult to prove,
Because there's so many factors involved.
What are you starting with? Are you bleaching your hair out? That'll
how
whole
long
thing.
and whatever. I don't know how you. I don't know how you throw a blanket answer or statement, or I don't know how you do it. And that's what's interesting is that, and I know Shari and I have talked about this before, is people think that. That I'm like attacking DevaCurl, or I'm like, hell no, I'm not, because I know it could be any product line.
Right.
It could be me next year. I'm like, I don't want to play this game, but
somebody, can have an allergy that would cause a problem, and that has even happened with my product line. It could be so many different things.
It could be anything.
But
it's a peppermint.
There's
peppermint in it.
For sure.
How many?
Right. Like I actually, one of our formulators, it can be so crazy. Like, she is deathly afraid to lavender.
Yeah.
Lavender's soothing, it's normally really soothing for
not
people,
for everybody.
but not for her. So, there's just so many things to talk about and factors that go into play. But I, too, Shari, have said all along, my personal opinion is I always say this, it's the easiest way. I feel co-washing is an addition to, not a replacement of, cleansing the scalp.
Do you think that's a fair statement, Shari?
Yes, I do. But again, there's different interpretations of what the co-washing is.
Right.
Well, that's just it. People that are just using conditioner. And, I've explained that difference too, because I know that Deva was formulated with a higher pH level and cleansing agents, because you also have the conditioner. So that product is meant to cleanse and clean the scalp and the hair, just like our Raw Curls non-sulfate cleanser, same thing. It's more similar to your low poo, where you get a little light lather to it, but not using the sulfate surfactants.
Yeah.
And because we know that many consumers do not know how to properly cleanse their hair and scrub the product out, that's where the recommendation comes in of alternating between no poo and low poo, or no poo and build-up buster.
Right.
So that you're balancing the scalp. You're balancing potential residue buildup.
Right. And something that you just said a few sentences back, I literally just had a conversation with someone about that, because there is this trend of, not washing your hair for 5 days or whatever it is. I always train people, you need to wash your hair as needed. I might need to wash mine every other day. I have an oily scalp. You might be able to go 3 days, but everyone's different. It's not like this contest that everyone can go 5 days or 3 days. You know when your scalp and your hair are nasty and you start to feel dirty and itchy and it needs to be washed, It's like, come on, it's common sense,
Right.
But I think also said, if you put a product on the hair that has a pearlescent thickening quality to it, and you leave it on, and it builds up, there's going to be a problem.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then you need to do a clarifier,
Right.
And we've talked about that.
Yeah. Well, Shari, I'm going to ask you one more question about this, and it's the hardest question, but it's going to lead into we're going to talk next about what you're doing next in your career, which is really interesting, and then we'll talk about how we're working together on some stuff, whatever. And you guys that are hanging in here, there's more people watching now than were when we started, so it's a good thing. Usually, you run this long and they start dropping off, and they're actually increasing. But so I'm going to ask you this, and then it'll lead into what you're doing next, and then the things that we're doing together. So my last question for you, and it's tough. So let's just make the assumption that the industry has grown to a point where, and with the DevaCurl brand, I'm not bashing, I'm just stating what's happening, is that their brand and the curl movement's getting so big, and there's not enough trained stylists to be training up, customers, clients, end users, how to the proper techniques of using products, or let's just say using products in general, and kind of this, what is, it's apparent from what you're telling us and what Melanie and I see in the industry of what's going on now is, the horse is out of the barn and gone. How do we fix this?
Well, I just want to say, back in 2013, when the whole influencer training market was going crazy, I hate to be, and I told you so, but I saw it happening where if you put a non-pro in a position to message out a product that is a professional product, there's going to be problems. So I think the answer is pro back in the position.
That's tough. That's a tall order.
It is a tall order. A lot of companies won't do it.
Will the stylists do it? That's literally the question I was going to ask you. Will the stylists do it?
Well, that remains to be seen. I think empowering the professional community, Jen, is really the first step. We've got to, and you said it on a video that I was watching where you were introducing your institute. The pros have to come together now that there isn't just the two pillars called WeDad and DevaCurl.
Right.
There are a lot of spectacular other companies, even one such company. Let's come together. Let's talk about what works, what doesn't work. Let's create an established standard that people can say, yeah, this is it, and this is where it needs to be, so that not only the professional can feel empowered and build their confidence as a specialist, but that the consumer can also feel more confident, knowing they're going somewhere where this is the new standard of expertise.
What a great idea.
Isn't that?
I'm glad you thought of that. Well, here I'll just tail into that because I want to get into your program as well. And I know some of you know this, some of you don't. And this is something that Melanie and I, Shari, WeDad, Chadwick Penley from CIC Beauty, and WeDad, and hopefully some others will come on board that we've been speaking to, have basically made the decision that this is what has to happen in the industry, and there has to be some type of certification process or some type of review board that puts together the standards of a growing industry like this. And we've created the American Board of Certified Curl Specialists. So by the end of this year, you'll start seeing that being implemented, and it'll make it a whole lot easier for consumers, because you'll be able to look and you'll know either they're certified or they're not. There's not a, I had this training, I had that, or maybe I had this, maybe you didn't have that. And that's one of the things that we're all working on. And I know for everybody that I've talked to, like you and Shari and Melanie and everybody else in WeedAd, she could, when I talked to WeedAd about this, when I first asked her, I thought there was at best a 50-50 chance she would come on, because she's living life now, right? It's pretty obvious, right? And I'm like, she's not going to do this, but I really need her to do this. And I'm thinking, how am I going to sweet talk her into this, right? I got to figure out a way, because I need her, right? And I don't even think I got the whole sentence out of my mouth, and she was like, "Oh, I'm in." I'm like, "Great."
And, you know, honestly, this all had been percolating in the back of my mind because of my experience and involvement with the American Board Certified Hair Colorist.
That's where it came from. Yeah.
So it's like, wait a minute, you know, why don't we have this set standard in the curl industry as well? So we need to create that.
Yeah. So it is. It's going to.
I think it also comes down to checks and balances. You know, where they have to continue to prove to maintain status.
Correct.
Exactly. Yep.
That's something that it didn't happen, and it needs to happen moving forward.
Sure. And that's why I've said it over and over, and I've said it to you, and that's why I said I find it really interesting that some people think that, you know, that we're like bashing bashing Deva or you guys. I've told you over and over again. I'm like, I would have done exactly what you guys did. I would have did exactly the same thing. I'm like, I'm not, because I know what it's like. It's just like any industry. It takes off like a rocket, then it starts to get all fragmented, and then eventually it comes back together and it, you know, takes off again. And we just, you know what, we just happen to be the people that have stood up and said, okay, we're going to bring this back together, you know, and get this fragmenting to stop.
Yeah, and also you were the people that decided to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Exactly.
You know, part of, you know, you and I were talking about this, Ken, because you are a manufacturer and you have the show, it puts you in a very interesting position.
Oh, yeah.
But I feel you've done nothing but stay neutral throughout presenting just what's happening and having people talk about it. So, you know, it's so interesting how people have different perspectives and different realities, and that's life.
It is.
No kidding, eh?
It's true, you know, and I was just talking about that as well, because I have clients that are concerned about their kids being bullied in school, and I said, look, I'm bullied every day online. You should hear the things that people talk about.
Every
you know,
day.
and it's just unfortunately become the norm in our society that people are attacking and trying to bring down success instead of being happy and supportive and celebrating.
Yeah.
So it's created a lot of negativity regardless of, you know, what company you're with or what you're doing. But anyway, we're all going to come together and make some positive changes.
Yes, we are. And now I'm going to bring this all together really, really quickly. For those of you that don't know, the other thing that related to this project is Melanie and I have, we purchased a nice big piece of land, and we're building the Curl Institute, which is going to be a brand neutral education facility for stylists to learn all the different aspects of curly hair, how to brand and market themselves, and it will all tie in with the American Board of Certified Curl Specialists. So not only are we able to educate you with all different educators from all over the world, will come to this one place, and you'll also be able to get certified, in the same property, but in a different organization. And where we've talked about this, egos at the door. You leave your egos at the door because there's no room for them here.
Right.
And that we're really excited about that. But that is going to lead into Shari's latest project, which we've been talking about with her for, God, a year and a half? It's got to be, hey?
Yes, and you know, over the year and a half, it's evolved. It started out as one thing and became something else. Some people on Instagram are dying to know the name of my new business. Hope to say that I will be launching the website in the next 2 to 3 weeks. But essentially, the company or the platform that I've created is really a means to offer premium education to teams, individuals, even hair care companies. As someone who works, with the brand for so many years, that want to understand what does it take to become a Raw Curls, what does it take to become a DevaCurl. There's so much that goes into that only through experience and wins and learns can one really have that type of ultimate success. So the pillars are really based on strategy, leadership, and technical training. And as I said earlier, technical training is one piece of the pie. Leadership, kind of leadership, the kind of strategy support. I'm not talking about computer operating systems or online systems. I'm talking about people. How do we elevate our mindset? How do we have our own self-discovery as professionals in this industry? To continue to self-actualize and elevate ourselves. To not only bring an elevated technical skill set to the client, but to bring an elevated presence. Because just like there's the included component to hair cutting, there's also that communication and that presence that we bring to the chair, that only with a good technical service delivery will create a loyal client and retention. And so that's the business part of it, because that ultimately affects your bottom line. So you can talk all you want about utilization and how many empty spaces you have in your book, but if you don't get clear on what you bring to the chair, in addition to your technical ability, you'll be where you're at, which I'm not saying is a bad thing. You'll be where you're at. And so, and why I'm especially excited to be part of your project is because you realize this. It's beyond the technical. It's how do we build a company image? If your chair is your company, how do you build your company? What's your brand? Who are you? What's your mission? How do you promote yourself? You can't deny social media, can't deny the digital world. And many of us who have been seasoned and have been at this for a long time, we're beginners in the digital world. So there's that component that you mentioned that I found very, very exciting. And because my company really encapsulates all of what you do at your institute, I feel that there's a synergy here.
Absolutely.
So
Yes.
the program offerings that I'm delivering, whether they're at your institute, or I should say our institute, or on my own, are all with the goal of elevating this industry. And I think that stylists want this and are ready for this. I think they're just as frustrated as we are. It's all about what's been happening and what's next. So that's my company. And, you'll get a window into it specifically once the website launches. But on my Instagram page right now, Shari Harbinger, there's a lot there already that just talks about the value of the stylist relationship. And yep, there's hair cutting, and I have a great technique, just like other awesome experts out there have their own version of it, and I'll offer mine. But it's all about giving you the confidence to perform behind the chair and deliver a result that the stylist before you did not deliver to that client that's now sitting in your chair.
That's excellent. And that's something that I always stress in my salon as well. Like when a new customer comes to my salon, they fill out a client profile. And one of the questions we ask on there is why they left their previous stylist. And I train my girls or my guys, whoever's working for me, that it's really important to take note of that because we don't want to make that same mistake. So whether it's just they don't like all the chit chat, they didn't listen to what I wanted, they cut my hair too short, it's really important to take note and not repeat that problem. So it's just something as simple as that, paying attention to, it takes a lot for a customer to leave a salon, I feel like. They are very loyal. It's changed, so typically, it has to be something kind of major for them to make a switch. And it's important that we cater to their needs.
That's real important to what you're saying. 95% of every client that sits in your chair, if you make the client connection with them and your technical skill is average or even less than average, they'll come back and give you another chance.
Exactly.
Because you establish a level of relatability with them that no one else has. But imagine if we could have both at that elevated level.
Exactly.
You've got a client for life.
Yeah, it's
And that
true.
was the success of DevaCurl Salon. We knew how to do that.
Wow.
And that's part of what I'm going to share out in some of my programs.
Very good.
Yeah,
We're looking forward to that.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Exciting.
Yeah, it is. It's really exciting, and I can't wait to see how it grows. We actually have a stylist training coming up of the House of Harbinger. Is that how you want it to be named?
You're not supposed to say that.
It was in the second page of what you sent me.
I hope too many people were listening. Oh, well.
Lionel, can you edit that out? It was in the second page you sent me. It was in the second page you sent me.
Then life
Lionel, get to work.
Life will go on. Life will go on.
It won't. You could have just said no. You could have just said no. That's not. Anyway, we have a 2-day workshop coming up. Can I say that?
Of course.
Okay. I just can't say what it is. Ah, my gosh.
I've been asking, am I going to have a training? And I think they're going to be very happy to see that we're collaborating on that training.
Yeah, they are. They are. Okay, if you're a licensed professional stylist, we have a training coming up with Shari on the. Nope, that's not it, Lionel.
That's my training.
That's Melanie's training. You can put that up. You want to put that up? We can put that up. We've got a training coming up with Shari. That's a 2-day workshop. I'll be posting on the website, the Academy website that we have. I'll post the link in the comment section later on, but we'll put a description in there of what's involved in those 2 days, which would be very, very valuable to you guys, and we'll give you a full description so we can talk more about that later. So that is really cool. We're really looking forward to that.
Yeah.
And we also, at the end of this month, we have a Raw Curls Academy training coming too.
What's that?
I think Ken's trying to just get over the fact that but
He's,
it's okay.
he screws up. I'm telling you. I don't even know where. I didn't even see
It was in the
that.
second page. I'm like, it's right there.
Oh,
Look at it. See it?
You gotta make sure you tell Ken if he's not supposed to say something.
Moving on. Yeah.
Yes.
He gets too excited and he just
Oh my
blurts everything
gosh.
else like he's got Tourette's.
Anyway, we have a training coming up with Shari at the Raw Hair Organic Salon in beautiful Naples, Florida, the 26th and 27th of April, Sunday and Monday. I'll give you all the details on that on the rawcurls.com/academy site, and it's exciting. If you're interested in, send me a Facebook message, or you can email me at ken@rawhairorganics.com. Yeah, I obviously I went through everything you sent me. I'm not going to talk about it, but I'll just say it's really cool. I'll talk about it in real general terms. It's you hit all the issues. You hit all the issues. You hit the issues of how do I say this? Of how a stylist consults and speaks and understands a client, whether it be a new client or an existing client, and how important those interactions are, and for the whole staff that's actually there. So it's not just. So for those of you who have maybe been trained by Shari in the past, this isn't just that. This is way above that. This is more of this is more of the business of curly hair, but it all ties in. But it all ties into to the cutting and the coloring and everything else. So.
There will be that. There will be cutting, and we'll land if there will be, what else will be involved. There will definitely be this component that we talked about tonight,
right?
Which is this piece on elevating your presence. so that you can bring more to the relationship beyond the technical. And that's why it's going to be a two-day training.
Right.
We've got to address this is something that's not being addressed in the industry.
For
not
sure.
at this level, and not the deep dive that this will be.
Right, for sure.
Okay, so let's clarify. Who is your target market for this class? So people that have already gone through Diva training, is this something that they would be interested in? Why? Because they're going to say, well, I've already taken the cutting, I mean, yes, you're diving into the kind of business aspect of it, but explain a little bit, like, why would they want to come? Who's your target market?
Any stylist, whether they've been through the prior curl training of any sort or is new. What's different about this training is I'm not teaching a haircut. And you'll find as they get to know me that I don't believe that there is any such thing as a curl expert or even an advanced stylist. My interpretation of an advanced stylist is the ability to think in advance of the haircut. The more you can think in advance and map out your plan for your finished look, and then apply the roadmap to it, which is the technical expertise, with confidence, is going to help you create any haircut that you desire. So I'm not teaching one haircut. I'm teaching the principles that will allow every student to feel confident and understand how, with the principles I'm going to share, that they can customize any haircut, no matter the texture, no matter the starting point. And that part of that, some of them have been turned on to with the Academy, which is this application technique called the curl clock. However, I don't feel that we ever had a chance in our existing curriculum there to really expound on it and get in front of it and share it out in a way that I will be able to in this training form. And so that's part of it.
Okay.
The second part is really getting in touch with not only how we communicate. A lot of us think we've got it, we know how we do what we do. It's an eye-opener why we communicate the way we do. And an understanding of how does this client communicate to have their needs met. And are we aligning together to create that synergistic relationship that's harmonious, that the client feels good in the chair, and has a wonderful service such that they return. So it's going to be an exploration and an awareness of how we communicate, which is quite fun, actually, and eye-opening. And then being able to identify who are our clients, who are the ones that communicate in a certain way that doesn't lead to a productive end result. Either they don't come back, you dread having them come to your salon, right? And so you're smiling now as I'm
Never.
This is the truth. You look at the client list for the day, and you're looking at the full day. And I know it because I was in the salon for many years, and we all do it. Oh, so-and-so's coming in, and then, so-and-so's coming on this one. And we make, we already have a predetermined judgment of how this section is going to go. What I'm going to help you do is turn every session into a winning result with every client. You'll actually be able to more confidently and harmoniously interact with clients that may be the pains that come. But at the end of the day, every client is the reason that we all have a career. And so we're going to deep dive into that with the philosophy.
Yeah. And when you get to the point in your career that I'm at, that's why I'm smiling. I really enjoy all my clients. There's some that come in that have more negative attitudes. It's not that they're so much picky or, criticizing what you do, but it's just they're negative. They're never happy with themselves. Like you say, how are you? And it's already, and they start complaining, and it's such a downer. But so you have those clients, and it's been like that for years. Like they've never changed. But I always feel, good, and it's kind of my challenge and mission to have them be smiling and happy when they're walking out the door. That I could have transform them at least for a small moment in time. Because I know I have some clients, every time they come in, they're like dragging their feet and they're down and they just, spew all these complaints. But then they leave and they're like, oh, I feel so good. They're happy, they're laughing, they're hugging you, so it's like you see a transformation, at least momentarily.
So imagine if I can offer up some tools
Yeah.
and awarenesses
Right.
that could help you, help the client have their own self-actualizing experience beyond the hair and beyond just the moment they're in your chair. And
Yeah,
that's the magic.
awesome.
And that's why we do what we do.
Yep, that's right. I'm
That's
looking
right.
forward to it, and I'm sure a lot of other people are too.
Yeah. So
Good.
feel free to
Well,
message
I'm
me.
excited
Feel free to message me, anybody that's watching that's a licensed professional stylist, either on Facebook or email me at ken@rawhairorganics.com, and I'll set you up on that. I'll set you up on that deal. So, yeah, I'm sure you'd be more than happy to spend a lot of time here in the winter in South Florida.
Oh, yeah.
I'll bet.
Well, you know how
my
I
gosh.
feel about Florida these days.
Right. Yeah, but you're coming for the wrong reasons. Right, you're coming for the wrong reasons. Oh my gosh. You got anything else for Shari you want to talk about or no?
For Shari, I don't think so. I'm pretty sure we covered
I don't
just
think
about
so.
everything. Did you
Helen,
have
anything of
else?
importance that,
You had
that
your
we didn't
computer
touch
there.
on?
Are we supposed to be doing anything with that?
nope, didn't see anything. What?
Has some pictures of the 7-year-old that
Okay, so Lionel has some pictures.
Yeah,
and
I think, can Shari see this? Is she going to be able to see this, Lionel?
okay, there's the cute little 7-year-old.
That's before she's dried, yeah.
No, no, this was the after. Lionel, you got to go to the dry hair ones. There we go. So that's
That's a
how
7-year-old.
she was, yeah, coming in with her hair. And that's a before, yes. Look at all that hair. Oh my gosh. And her
So
scalp
imagine
was
this little
hurting.
girl.
I know, she was
She's
so
gonna go
cute
through,
and
loving
so
her
good.
hair.
And
She
then the
won't
wet
have
ones
to-
are after, but they left with wet hair. So you can already see the transition. We brought the length up. Oop, that's the mom. Are there any other wet ones, Lionel? Or is that the only one you have? Yeah, and then the back shot. Because I brought the length up a little bit. She actually said she was willing to cut a lot of the length off, and I thought, my God, why? It's so beautiful. I mean, her hair is gorgeous. I could just tell part of the problem was, products that were being used incorrectly, and styling, techniques that were being used incorrectly. And so I said, let's just bring the length up a little bit and do what Shari calls elevation, but what people know as layering, to give her some bounce back to her curl. And you can clearly see all that lift and curl at her root. So we were just letting it air dry then when I was doing the mom's hair. So I asked them to send me some pictures afterwards when they get back from their vacation. So to be continued. But
Yeah,
then you
we'll
can
update you in a
can show the mom's hair too if you want, Lionel. Do you
Do you
have
have
those
that, Lionel?
pictures? Oh wait, show her
Show
dry
her
pictures
befores,
first.
yeah, before ones.
Yeah, there. So she kind of had the same thing going on, dry, frizzy hair, being weighed down at the scalp. Yeah.
Wow.
So I was able to pretty much do the same type of thing, keep length in her hair, but just change the shape of it and get a lot more lift and curl all the way to the root. And she was just
And
so
here's
excited.
the curly mom empowering her daughter.
I know, isn't that awesome? So we talked about that because I said, exactly. How lucky is that girl to be learning at 7 how to properly take care of her hair, and she's going to have fabulous curls for the rest of her life.
Exactly. And love them. Hopefully.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She loves them for sure. Yep, definitely. Now, did we want to go ahead and mention my class again?
Yeah, we have a class coming up March 29th and 30th. We have just a couple of spots left in the Raw Curls Academy 2-day hair cutting classes specializing in wet and dry cutting, and that is the 29th and 30th at the Raw Hair Organic Salon in beautiful Naples, Florida. You can go to rawcurls.com/academy if you'd like to sign up. And
We're still looking for models too.
yeah, we could use a couple of models. And we're running a special for today. If you happen to be one of the people that purchased a ticket to the canceled IBS show in New York City. Shari, you can't come, so I saw your eyes getting wide. You can't come. So if you bought one of those tickets for the IBS show, that I believe is the biggest hair industry trade show in the country, and it was canceled on Friday, like what, the day before it was supposed to start, or 2 days? Here's the deal, today only. If you send me your ticket stub, I'll give you $100 off the class. Ta-da.
Wow.
So you get something out of it, and you get to come to South Florida, where it's warm. Warmer than New York City. So, anyway, yeah.
Well, it was 70 today.
Right, well, there you go.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was almost the same temperature as here.
Yeah, there you go. Just trying to help those people out because, I mean, this is like the third hair industry show in the last 2 weeks that's canceled. I couldn't believe that, Shari, when I saw that Cosmoprof Europe cancel. I'm like, oh my gosh. And then they rebooked it. Yeah, did you see where they rebooked it? The week before Cosmoprof Las Vegas.
Oh, wow.
I don't know how they're going to do it. I don't know how they're
Where's, in Europe?
Yeah.
Oh.
Like,
Wow.
oh.
Wow.
But yeah, that, and now it's starting to look like ABS in Chicago may get canceled too. So we're trying to help. We're trying to help out, because I mean, well, you know as well as I do, and I mean, I know people who are consumers wouldn't know this, but these big trade shows, for a lot, the bulk of hairstylists, that's the weekend they get their training for the year.
That's so true.
It's sad, but it's true. You get good training, but a lot of them, it's only, they budget those 2 days. So that's why, I kind of made the decision today. I'm like, what the heck? I'll just, if somebody wants it today that's got that ticket in hand, I think they paid $100 for it. I'm like, I'll give you $100 off if you want to come. So at least they get something out of it. I don't know what else the solution is.
Yeah.
Although I did hear, Nick Arrojo's had a pretty busy last 2 days because his salon is right by the center where the show is. So everybody was hitting him up. Hey, can I use your space?
Oh, he's got a big salon.
He's got a
too.
big salon, but yeah. So I'm sure he's the most popular hairstylist in New York City these last couple days.
Wow. Hey, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And the other thing that people don't realize, I'm sure of it, for vendors like us, companies that go and do these shows and bring their products and teach the education, it is so much time and money that you plan, way far in advance. Like
6-8 months in advance.
Yeah. And you have to ship stuff, and it's really involved.
It's sad.
Yeah.
It's easily a 20 grand loss. They're not for a small company. Easily a 20 grand loss. They'll never get back. Yep, never get
Yeah, I
back.
can't imagine.
So
Wow.
this stinks. So we're just trying to do our whatever we can. I don't know. I don't know if anybody could even take us up on it, but again, it's something, right? I don't know. What are you gonna do?
Okay.
Anyway, all right. Any parting thoughts for us other than damn you, Ken, for anything else?
It's okay. It's
Okay.
okay. It's going to be launched in the next week anyway. So
We'll
all
all
good.
we'll all live.
And now everyone knows what to look for.
That's right.
Nobody watches this show anyway. Well,
Oh, gosh.
sadly, they
There you
do.
go.
I can share a fun fact. We can end on a fun note.
All right,
So
let's end on
I'm
a
looking
fun
at how
note.
nice her bangs look and how pretty her hair looks. And, last week somebody brought that up about, bangs or no bangs. And I said, yes.
Yeah.
So I got inspired to cut bangs, and oh, what a disaster. I hate them. I do not like it on my hair at all. I knew better. As soon as I took that snip, I was like, oh man, I'm in trouble. Because I actually have like a smaller forehead. So in order to have bangs, like I really have to cut them super short. So then I thought about maybe I'll do like mini bangs and really like raise them, make it look funky, but I haven't done that. I'm just now pushing it all to the side because I hate it and it doesn't, not happy.
So now she
Your
looks
bangs
like-
look so nice.
Yeah. Now
Well,
Melanie
when I
looks
come in
like.
April, I'll take a look at your bangs.
Yes.
There you go. Right.
Yes.
Exactly.
Oh,
but that
my
was a question
gosh.
last week.
Yes.
Melanie, bangs, yes or no? And she was like, yes.
Yes, and I
So
got
then
all
she did it.
excited.
Now she's like, no.
No, not on myself. Maybe on you.
Right.
No, I mean, it looks great on my clients, but
Right.
I knew better. I don't know.
Yeah.
I honestly, too, I have these short little hairs growing in, because I had some hormonal hair loss, and so I've been working on getting that back, which is coming in nicely, but then those little hairs have been poking me in the eye, and it was annoying, so I'm like, I'll just
Right.
cut it all and, make it
So
blend
now
in.
Melanie's bangs look like Uma Thurman from Pulp Fiction. So
Yeah, I don't
Kinda
know,
short.
something.
kind of.
I haven't figured it out yet.
All right. Okay. Well, thanks again, Shari, for coming on and
having me.
sharing with us this new project. It's just this is great,
Yeah, I'm super excited.
And really for everybody that's listening and watching, thank you for coming on and talking about a touchy situation that nobody at the level of that company has done.
Yeah, it takes courage,
it takes
to
a
step out
lot.
and
Yep.
be able to talk about things in public.
Yeah, so I want everybody that's watching or listening to make sure, give Shari a big thumbs up, hit her up on social media, tag her, and you make sure and you tell everybody, hey, she stepped up and did this because
Yeah, we appreciate that.
yeah, because it's to me it's a big deal. To me, it's a big deal. So thanks, Shari. You're the man, woman. You know what I mean. You're it.
That's right.
You're it.
You're awesome.
All right. Okay.
There you go.
Well, thanks again, Shari, and I'll talk to you within the next week anyway. So I'll be in touch.
Bye.
All right. See ya. All right. Good night. Wonderful. Well, there you guys have it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And what'd you think?
Excellent.
Excellent. I did too.
It's good to, get different perspectives and answers. People have really been anxious and wanting to, hear about what's going on.
Yeah.
And, there it is, right from one of the founders.
Right. Yeah. And I'm glad because this worked out real well because like we talked about, we've been talking about this project with doing a facility for education and then a certification board. We've been talking about this for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
And for for a situation like this to play out over the last few months, around the same time that, we're doing this, it's the perfect storm of good. I mean, that it all comes together because it and some of the other people that I've mentioned, it really obviously reignited their, understanding of the need for this, even though, for people like in our position, it's a lot of dang work that, people like us don't have time for, but everybody, understands that it's important and has stepped up and said, yep, I'm in. Everybody that we asked at these levels to be involved with this project immediately said yes. Nobody said, let me think about it. Everybody said, yep, I'm in. So, yeah, so it's really cool. So, yeah, stuff like this happens, and it sucks. But it's really how do you react to it and what do you do about it? And, there's a lot of major players who have stepped up and said, yeah, I'll be a part of this. So,
Very good.
Anyway. Hey, Lionel, the sound is great in my headset now.
Yeah. Now that the show's over, that's awesome.
Now that the show's over.
No. But, and we've always believed that good things come out of bad things. And, trials create opportunity.
Yeah. So,
There
sure
you
does.
have it.
Yeah. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that. Leave some comments if you would. If you're watching on the YouTube channel, please subscribe. Click that little bell so you get notification. And I'd like to thank everybody here who helped out to make this all happen. Lionel, Helen, you guys did a great job. Thank you so much.
Yay.
Murphy for behaving because she hasn't been harassing us. She's probably sleeping, which is good. We got the whole family here again tonight. So
Yes.
Anyway, appreciate you guys. Also, check out podcast should be up. Oh, man, this is a long one. It's going to take a while to upload. Probably midnight tonight, Eastern time, I'm going to guess. By the time you get up tomorrow morning, that podcast will be up and ready, and you can listen to the rest of it there. So anyway, thanks for hanging around, and we will see you guys next week, Monday. Have a
Awesome curly week.
great. We got a great guest next week, too. We'll see you then.